And welcome back, everybody. It is the area round of the playoffs, week 2 of the Texas High School playoffs, and this is the COVER1 pregame show. Joining me, of course, are my fellow co-hosts, James Bellini and Matt Cotrier. James, how are we feeling, man?
We're feeling good today. I'm excited it's area. I'm excited that some of the Concho Valley teams moved on. Matt, what about you, man? How do you feel?
Let's do this. Football, baby. It's week 2 in the playoffs. I'm excited, too. We got some good teams moving forward. The Wall Hawks, I'm looking forward to seeing. Miles, let's see how they do. But, yeah, excited to talk about it. Let's go.
All right. Before we get into it, here's an ad from the Bass Bunch.
You'll love this all-new 24 Ford Mustang with a 10-speed select shift transmission. That's fancy tech talk for it's a really cool car.
Right now, you can get a brand new 2024 Ford Mustang for just $33,999.
That's a great price for a sports car.
Only at Jim Bass Ford, Houston Hart at Arden Road, or shop 24/7 at JimBassFord.com.
Look at you.
And while we have great games tonight, the area round actually started last night on Thursday. And I know I went to a game and James went to a game, and we had some really good high school football action. I went down to San Marcos to watch the Mason Punchers take on the Ganado Indians, and man, was that a good game. Ganado started out first, got into the end zone to take a 7-0 lead, but Mason came right back down the field to try and tie this one up. Unfortunately for the Punchers, the extra point got blocked, and Ganado ended up taking that one back for a 2-point conversion. So instead of 7-7, it was 9-6 at that point. Mason played tough on defense in the first half, but Ganado's it was a very explosive offense throughout the night. Despite this, both teams ended up punting back and forth. And as we approached the end of the first half, Ganado had one last drive where they kind of pushed Mason enough down the field where they could finally get some points out of it. Now, Mason never really gave up in this one, but they couldn't really get any of their offense going. And so at halftime, this game ended up being 16-6. It was a 10-point game. Mason was still very much in it. But Mason came out in the second half, scored, and it looked like the Punchers were going to make this one a game. But Ganado was just too much in the end. They took advantage of a couple of Mason turnovers. Mason really couldn't get their dominant run game going, and once an offense like this falls behind a little bit, it's really hard for them to keep up with it. So at the end of this one, it ended up being a blowout. The final score of this one was 37-12.
Right. Yeah.
But Mason played hard, and they had a great season. Like I said, I think the difference in this game truly was that blocked extra point. As you see here, that was the lone touchdown that Mason got in the second half, and that's what gave them their 12 points. But even on that one, they missed the extra point in that as well. So special teams was definitely an issue throughout this one. But I don't know, James, what did you see of all the highlights I was sending you?
Man, I think that Ganado quarterback can really play. I think he can, I think he had really good numbers this year. And, when you can pick Mason apart like that, you've got a talented roster.
Oh yeah, and this is a team that beat the Wall Hawks, right? And I know it was probably Wall's worst game of the season that they played, but despite that, still held that offense to 7 points. Still got 14 on that really good defense, So
yeah, that's wild.
And Sutton Cirillo and Ryan Todd are two really good backs for Mason. And
they were the team last night. You know what I mean? Anytime Mason got anything going, I know Celerio had, several big plays in the receiving, and then Ryan Todd, of course, had a couple touchdowns. I think Celerio had a touchdown as well. But at the end of the day, Ganado was just too explosive. And so it almost looked like Mason, they got stops in the first half. They got stops in the third quarter. But by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, they were just gassed, So Mason fell in that one 37-12. But, hey, it was a great season. They were perfect in the regular season, another outright district championship. They claimed a bi-district championship last week. They just are not quite there yet where they can get over that area around hump again, where they can go and pursue that another state title.
Yeah, and they'll get there. But we got to move on. The Mason game, Chadwick, you were there, courtesy of Texas Bank.
Yeah, and Texas Bank. The COVER1 scoreboard this Mason coverage is brought to you by Texas Bank, locally owned and governed. Texas Bank is a proud sponsor of COVER1 athletics. Just like the guys on the field, Texas Bank wants to show you what it means to be a team. From checking to savings to personal loans to commercial loans, Texas Bank is here for San Angeloans with 3 convenient locations. So when thinking where to bank, use the local guys at Texas Bank.
All right, moving on. That wasn't the San Marcos game with Mason and Ganado?
Yes, Ganado.
Okay.
I talked to the coaches.
Okay.
We thought it was Ganado. It is definitely Ganado.
Ganado. All right. Anyway, there was a game right here in San Angelo at 5 o'clock. It was the Brock Eagles, who are an absolute power. Ask the Wall Hawks about Brock, and I'm sure they'll tell you, they don't want any more Brock. But they
beat him in baseball.
Oh, okay. Talking about football right now. You can get on subject over there. The Mason, or excuse me, now I'm all mixed up. The Brock Eagles played out of their minds last night. Right here you have number 7, Colt Matlock, who this was after an Andrews punt. They punted. This is a punt return. That was the first score of the game. And here comes a pass to 88 Britton Burrows right in the end zone. It's 14-0 right now. Things didn't really start getting crazy until really this segment right here. Just a sack for everybody. Brock has 45 sacks on the season. I don't know if anybody looked at their stats, but
there's a dominant
they were
defensive
insane.
line. Yeah.
And here you go. Here's an interception by 9. This is where things just start to snowball for Brock. They ended up beating them, I think, 67-13 or 76-13. They had like 12 touchdowns. Their defense played outstanding. And Muleshoe had a couple good defensive plays, and their quarterback did what he had to do.
James, what was that crazy stat that you said at their special teams and at turnovers and touchdowns and all that last night?
All right, they had Brock had 6 turnovers last night from interception, fumbles, and they had 5 defensive and special teams touchdowns.
Yeah.
Matlock had that punt return, and then he had a kick return later in the game.
Yeah.
And then they had an interception return, and then I think another 3 interception returns. Wow. I mean, if I was playing the Brock Eagles on my fantasy team, they would have won me the game just from their defense alone.
Yeah, and Muleshoe wasn't a bad team either.
No, they're not. Like last year, I thought I could have swore it was the Muleshoe game there in Lubbock, and Muleshoe jumped out to a little bit of a lead, and then Brock just came right back on him, and ended up finishing that game like 57-20 over Muleshoe.
Wow.
And I talked to Billy Mathis kind of before and after the game, the Brock coach. He's been there 2 years. There you go. There's the CeeDee Lamb for you. That was something that he appreciated that I put in there for him.
Yeah, that was cool.
And the dude could just play too. I think he's a sophomore there at Brock, and he is just. I mean, he had the punt return at the beginning. He had a receiving touchdown.
What's that kid's name?
Colt Matlock.
Nice. Okay.
And then he had a kick return. There's on Muleshoe's first touchdown, the kick after went to Matt, and he just ran it down the Brock sideline. I mean,
look out for that kid.
But
I'd like to see him play.
I don't know if you see 52 out there. That kid on the defensive line is huge, and he can play too. Brock just proved why they are just far and away, why they've been to 2 state championships. And talking to Billy Mathis, he goes, man, we don't want to be state finalists anymore. We've done that 2 years in a row. His first year there, they went 15-0, and they lost to Lorena at state. Then last year, Chadwick, you were there, man. The Franklin game. It was 14-14, and then Franklin kicked the field goal.
As time expired, that was one of that was the best state championship game of all of last year, and there was a lot of emotion involved in that one. You could tell that those guys were comrades and friends, but by the end of it, there was no animosity between those two teams. Easily one of the best high school football games I've seen in a while. It was a defensive battle. Lots of turnovers all over the place.
There's that last touchdown from Sebastian Carvins there from Muleshoe.
Yeah, but what do you see in that, Matt? Like you played high school football at a high level. Like when you see a team just come out and be able to dominate this deep into the playoffs at this point, because like this isn't the first round everybody gets a chance to play type thing. Like
that's right, man. Yeah,
all these teams have won a playoff game.
That's true. I mean, when you're that deep, I mean, your whole team's got to be firing on all cylinders. And you look at that team right there, and we're talking about that kid. What's that kid's name again? Matlock.
Matlock, the 7, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just explosive players on offense and on defense. And it just, when it gets down to, second round, third round, I mean, you got to have everyone firing. There can be no one lagging behind. And those that are lagging behind, the leaders got to step up and pull them along. So it gets interesting week 3, week 4. And just like you were talking about that game, that state championship game, 14-14, and all the emotion involved, man, I was just imagining that because I've never personally been to a state championship game like that. So,
well, you're going to go this year.
Yeah, dude, I bet that's pretty cool. It's got to be neat to watch. So, yeah, it's awesome.
Right. All right. We got to move on. Congratulations to Brock. They're going to play the winner of Clyde Shallow Water. That game's going to be Saturday in Shotwell Stadium in Abilene. So if you want to make it out to Abilene for that one, that should be going. Clyde has played extremely well this year. We're going to come back. We're going to get to tonight's games. But first, here's a message from the Bass Bunch.
This is a full-size truck that you can haul just about anything you can think of. And with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty, you can drive it with ease. And tell me this, where can you get a full-size truck that's $10,000 off MSRP?
Get a new 24 Nissan Titan Pro 4X Crew Cab and get $10,000 off MSRP. Only at Jim Bass Nissan. Shop 24/7 at bassbunch.com.
It's a big truck for the big dogs.
All right, welcome back. We're going to talk about the games tonight. We have we're going to be at 4 games tonight, but we're going to talk about the 3 of them real quick. First, we're going to talk about Wall Childress, then we'll talk about Sonora and Farwell, and then we'll talk about Miles and Collinsville. But Chadwick, you're going to be at that game in post tonight for the Wall Hawks. Tell me what you think about it.
Man, I cannot tell you how excited I am for Wall to play like a real good quality opponent. You know what I mean? Like nothing against the other people that Wall have played this year, but like I don't know how good the Wall Hawks are. I was talking to Coach Guy this week. He doesn't know how good the Wall Hawks are because like he's like, we have a good record and we've been rolling over dudes, but like is our level of competition up to snuff? Well, they're gonna find out this week when they play the Childress Bobcats. Because Wall's been on a tear, they've crept back into the top 10. They're ranked number 8 in the state right now, and Childress came in second place in their district, and their only district loss was to the number 2 team in 3A or D2 3A in Canadian, and so of course we all know that Canadian team was the one who kicked Wall out of the 4th round of the playoffs last year.
That's a district game for
and that's a district game for for Childress. Like a good example of that would be how Miles has to play Albany every year, and so it's not indicative of how good Childress is if they lose that game. But in this matchup, Wall comes in averaging over 60 points a game their last 6 games. They're riding a 6-game win streak. That defense is allowing less than 2 touchdowns a game. I think they're back below 10 points a game. Absolutely flattened Tornillo last week, but Tornillo just they got some work to do out there. 4-team district, and they're going to make the playoffs no matter what. But hey, Wall stayed healthy. Coach Guy said this is the healthiest they've been in a long time. They've gotten back every guy they're going to get back who doesn't have a season-ending injury, so expect Wall to be firing on all cylinders on this.
Man, is Hagen Barbie back? I know he played a little bit last week. But
yes,
he's back for sure.
Yeah, so he played all of he played 4 plays last week. I actually asked Coach Guy specifically about him, and he's one of those running backs that is explosive, and the Hawks need him to be healthy. But he's only explosive when that ankle's not bothering him.
Right.
So I'm picking not to get into picks already.
Let's talk to Matt. Hey, Matt, you were there, man. What'd you see from Hawks? What'd you see from the Hawks, man?
Yeah, I mean it's exciting to like you said, Chadwick, to see Wall play a real team that's good. Nothing against Tornillo, but they just weren't up to snuff to what Wall produces out there. I mean, those kids are big. They're big and they're fast. They remind me of 6A football kids. And so it's going to be interesting to see Wall play some real good teams coming up here pretty quick. So I think you're lucky to get out there and watch that game. It's going to be fun.
Oh, for sure. And this game is actually a rematch of last year's first round of the playoffs, where Wall won this one 44-10.
Second round of the playoffs.
Was it? Oh, yeah, second.
They had 20.
Yeah, I forgot they had a bye last year. So yeah.
No, I was out there because I was going to introduce you, Matt, to Coach Guy and Coach Slaughter, and and I was standing there, and nobody was in the stands. 14, and I think at 5:59 they were walking out there on the field, and the game started at 6.
Yeah.
And even Craig Slaughter said it to me earlier in the week, earlier in the season. He said, "Man, I'm kind of like, we going to get some really good competition to play."
Yeah.
And hopefully this is it for him. Hopefully this is it.
Yeah, but let's hope that they show up. Like I want to see the Hawks show up and hit somebody in the mouth.
For sure.
So do I.
But yeah, this game is in post tonight. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 p.m.
Nice.
All right. We are gonna move on. But before we do, we have to throw some love to Angelo Bolt. Matt, take it away.
Our coverage of the Wall Hawks is brought to you by Angelo Bolt at 808 Warehouse Road, opened in 1994. Angelo Bolt and Industrial Supply Incorporated has served the Concho Valley for 29 years and counting. Angelo Bolt is the go-to place for fasteners, power tools, air compressors, safety equipment, and everything in between. Chances are, Angelo Bolt will always have what you need when you need it, and in the rare chance they don't, they'll find it fast. No request is too big or too small at Angelo Bolt at 808 Warehouse Road, where customer service is their top priority. Thank you, Angelo Bolt, for bringing us the Wall Hawks game tonight.
Moving on, we're going to talk about the Sonora Broncos. Last week, they went to Sweetwater. They played Anson. Anson is in that district with Hawley and them, so it's once you have Hawley, Stanford, and Cisco in the same district, your first round game is really tough. Anson played extremely tough. Sonora didn't really play DeLuna. He kind of got dinged up in that Forsan game the week before, so they didn't really play him on offense in that that first quarter. He did jump out there on defense, and he went out there. His first play was, he got through the line, got a tackle for loss. And, Anson was actually winning at one point. They were up 27-21, and 5 minutes left. They punted the ball. Sonora had a block in the back, so it backed it up. It was like a 90-yard drive, and I remember Butron, their quarterback, Jaime Butron, he's got that swagger about him. He looked at me and he said, "Man, we got him right where we want him. We're going to go down the field here and score." And sure enough, they hit Edgar DeLuna on a screen pass. He took it down the field. Then they went for 2, shovel pass to DeLuna in the end zone. Sonora ended up winning 29-27. Now they're playing Farwell in the second round. It's the same thing as the Hawks. It's a rematch from last year. And Weston, Coach Weston there in Sonora told me, like, the Farwell coach is like, where's 12 at? What's he look like? Where's he at? And then Jaime Butron, little 5'11", 160 pounds of him, walks out there and just tears it up.
Dang.
The Farwell came over after the case, like, man, that's the best football player I've seen, and Butron was that. Obviously, though, this year, Butron's got that leg brace on.
He has no ACL, what you mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Dang.
But he's got that brace on, and he tore it up in the game last week. So, and he says it, he told me, man, it doesn't hurt at all. So
yeah, that's how a full ACL tear is. You don't feel it at all. When it's fully torn like that. I tore mine junior year spring training, and then I got up about 10 minutes of pain. Then I was running around on it. I was like, I'm fine. When it got checked out and I had a full tear, dude, it's the weirdest thing. That's
exactly what Butron's did. It hurt when it happened, and then it hadn't hurt. But DeLuna didn't really practice at all kind of last week. So this week I think they should be a little bit healthier, and they should hit the ground running this one. DeLuna is the best running back in probably one of the best football players in the Concho Valley.
I'd say DeLuna is one of the best in 2A football.
Yeah.
You know what? That's probably true.
Yeah, honestly, you got guys like Texas Tech University looking at a 2A school, he can play.
All right. And this game, though, I don't think Farwell wanted to go to Big Springs. That's where it was last year. So Weston even told me, we might do Snyder. And then sure enough, it's in Snyder, Texas. It's about an hour and a half from here. Mm-hmm. They're going to play Farwell at 7 o'clock. So, any questions? Or should we just...
No, man, let's keep rolling.
Let's keep moving. All right. Before we do, though, here's a message from Intertel. Intertel is the proud sponsor of COVER1 football coverage. Intertel has been providing cutting-edge but proven technology for homes and businesses in the Concho Valley. Just like the game of football, a good defense is important to winning. Need a security system or cameras? Get a free quote today by visiting Intertel.com or by calling 325-658-8375. All right. Now we're going to talk about, Matt, the game you're going to. You're going to go to Breckenridge for the Collinsville Miles Bulldog game. What do you know about it?
Yep, I'm going to Breckenridge, about an hour away in the Abilene area. It should be interesting. The weather's going to be good tonight. We know that Collinsville won by pretty large numbers last week. I think 60-0.
Yep.
Yeah. Beat Archer City.
Yeah, and then Miles, of course, coming off of a playoff win, and credit going to Coach Wilhelm. I mean, first playoff win in, 6 to 8 years or whatever it's been. And so bringing that community and that football team together, man, that's going to be magical. So second round means a lot to these guys. I can tell you that. It means a lot to these families. And a lot to the players. And so this is going to be a big game. Just to throw some stats out there, so let's talk about the quarterback, Logan Jenkins, with 302 receptions out of 409 attempts with 4,023 yards, 54 TDs, only 4 interceptions, 359 rushing yards with 5 TDs.
So, and this is Collinsville's quarterback, right? And I know that this guy can sling the ball over the place. How does this offense match up to kind of what Haven Book, Tevin Mead, and what is it, Cooper Ellison? I don't want to get that wrong,
yeah,
James. What Cooper Ellison does out there, because I know they like slinging the ball too. So you got a quarterback that threw for over 4,000 yards this year and 54 touchdowns. How do you combat that?
I mean, you got 6,500 yards between these two quarterbacks. Wow. They are both really good football players.
Yeah,
we know Book. They've won the state 7-on-7 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So I expect this game to be outstanding, especially if Miles' defense plays like they did last week.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so my question for you, Matt, is what how do you think Miles slows that down? Do you think because obviously they're going to score points on offense, and Miles' defense can try to contain them, but how do you think Miles' offense can help that defense out?
Man, it's going to be tough. Like James was saying, you've got two quarterbacks here that can throw the ball around pretty well. Miles is just going to, as far as their offense goes, they're just going to have to come with it, and they're going to have to make sure that they're running the ball efficiently, that they're holding the ball tight, not letting any turnovers happen. That's super important. Making sure that the receivers are running the routes they're supposed to run. Everybody's on point. They're just going to have to work together and play smart football. And as far as their defense goes, going up against this quarterback, like I said, that has over 4,000 yards, their secondary is going to have to be on their game, and it'll be exciting to see what they can do for sure.
Man, that Pirates defense is no joke for Collinsville, though. They got 14 total interceptions, and I think 3 players have 10 of those interceptions. So Book has to be accurate tonight. He's got to, and he is.
Yeah.
But he's got to be able to hit his guys. They had to take that momentum from last week when they shut out Sterling City. Sterling City, Ryan, you were at that game last year out there in Wall. And
I was at them both.
You were at them both, yeah. Talking about,
So the game last year, it was just kind of like a dogfight, slugfest. Came down to a missed extra point. This year, Miles left no doubt. The defensive line dominated Sterling City up front, forced Sterling City to throw the ball. We all know that Sterling City doesn't like throwing the ball. And then on offense, I want to give a shout out to Tevin Mead. He set the tone. everything that Haven Book completed over the top was because Sterling City could not contain Meade. So I think in this game, Meade's going to have to have another big game. He's going to have to get to the outside. He was really good at finding the cutback lanes. He cut it back against the grain, and then and he was off like a shot, So I think time of possession is a real big deal in this one, and I think that's what it's going to take to keep this Pirates offense on the sideline.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you're going to have to control the clock with your running backs and throw when necessary. If you get into a track meet with these guys, it could get really bad. And if you throw an interception late or something, that could be the game.
If they do pull this off and they win this round and they go to round 3, who would they potentially play?
Man,
because that'd be exciting for them.
Sure
I know they're on the opposite side of the bracket from Albany, so I ain't got to play them again yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Curious
be
to
a
know.
4th round deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, if they get past this one, all credit to
Right?
that entire community out there.
Man, that'd be
I'll have the
awesome.
biggest congratulations for them. So yeah, I mean,
Yes.
good luck. But Matt, go ahead and tell us where this game's at.
Yeah, so this one's going to be in Breckenridge, and it starts at 7 p.m., and I'll be there taking some video for us and doing a little write-up on it, so stay tuned for that.
All right. We are going to be moving right along here at Cover 1. Before we do, though, we got Hartman Roofing.
All right, this Miles segment has been brought to you by Hartman Roofing. If you want to stay in the game, don't get beat over the top. At Hartman Roofing, the proof is in the roof. From residential houses to commercial buildings, Hartman Roofing is the roofer you can trust to do it right the first time. To get a quote today, call Hartman Roofing at 325-653-2888.
All right, moving on. Actually, if Miles wins this one, they will play Roscoe. And that's a district opponent there. So I think Roscoe beat them earlier in the year, and it was like a 34-32 game. So that'd be really cool to play a district opponent,
cool. Yeah.
in 3rd round because you know them really well.
Oh, and shout out to Roscoe. I went out to their stadium for that TLCA matchup. They got a really cool complex.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about Player of the Week real fast. Chadwick, you kind of threw out Haven Book last week for Player of the Week. Why did you throw him out? Why was he impressive to you?
I mean, it's not every day that you have a quarterback that gets a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown, and an interception. And he didn't throw the interception either, so he actually had a takeaway playing cornerback for the Bulldogs against Sterling City. The young man just balled out. He pretty much could do whatever he wanted. He connected with Cooper Elson over the top several times. He was really efficient when he was running the ball. And then, of course, they ran a trick play there in the first half where they were out of the Wildcat now, and Ellison actually took the snap, threw up a fade, and Haven Book mossed his the eagle that was matched up against him for a touchdown. So I just thought the young man balled out. I think he had 5 total touchdowns. It was just a great performance overall.
Nice.
All right. Unfortunately, though, among part of discussions here, Haven Book did not win Player of the Week, but he did play outstanding last week. He definitely deserved Player of the Week a couple weeks throughout the season, and I know we gave it to him 1 week early in the season. But our Player of the Week comes from Erie County. Wyatt Morris, he is the running back out there. He had 5 total touchdowns. He had 5 rushing touchdowns, 277 yards on 30 attempts. I spelled the attempts wrong, but sue me. 409 total yards, 8 total touchdowns. He had a 5 rushing, 1 passing, 1 receiving, and he scooped up a fumble.
Whoa.
And took it back to the house. He
deserves that.
Completely.
Yeah, Miles fans,
everything.
before you say, hey, Haven should have won, yes, the young man
Haven
went
played
off,
outstanding.
right?
Haven played
But Wyatt Morris had 8 touchdowns and a takeaway, So I know that the Erie County Hornets balled out this year. Obviously, it's unfortunate that they fell short against May in that opening round of the playoffs.
May's a good opponent, dude.
May might win a state championship this year. That was the level of competition.
May played Sterling City. The first year that I was covering football for Cover 1, May played Sterling City in the state championship.
Oh, wow.
And Sterling City won that game.
Yeah, Sterling City
Shout
did
out
win that
Concho
game.
Valley.
So,
Huh.
then May went deep the next year. I think they went to state the next year. And last year, they got beat by Erie County in the first round. So these two districts just match up early, and it's a shame that they match up as early as they do. Because, I mean, you want these good games to last for forever. You know, I don't. Just like the Sterling City Miles matchup. I hated that, but that's just the way it falls.
Yeah.
I'd love to see these games 3-4 rounds
That's true.
deep,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It would bring some more
But
excitement.
big shout out to Carpet Tech's Player of the Week for Week 1 of the high school football playoffs, Wyatt Morris of the Erie County Hornets. Balled out, young man.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about our picks, and then we'll talk about final thoughts. All right? But here's a quick message from Carpet Tech.
Sound gross.
Right now, get 15% off carpet cleaning from Carpet Tech.
All right, here it is. We're getting close to the end here. Our picks from last week. We kind of just took off the regular season. This is all playoffs here. Here's the bye district. Matt Coutrer, 4-0. Yanchis, 3-1. Scott Menchaca, Matt Trammell, Ernesto Rodriguez all went 2-2, and Ryan Chadwick and I went 1-3.
We have too much faith in the Concho Valley.
In the
sometimes,
Concho
I
Valley.
swear.
That is true.
Yeah.
But I just want these Concho Valley to
I
make
get
it.
it.
You know?
That's cool.
But Chad, talk about the Wall picks real quick, man.
Okay, so I know that Wall might be the favorite in this game. They're the number 8 team in the state in 3A Division II right now. That they've been on an absolute tear, but they also have not quite been playing the same level of competition that Childress has. Like, I want to see Wall show up, hit someone in the mouth, dominate again, just like they did last season, just like they've done in district play, you know. So I do think this is going to be a really tough matchup for the Hawks. Childress matches up well against them, size-wise across the board. At the end of the day, though, this game is going to come down to how good Wall's defense is and how well Wall's offense can control the line of scrimmage and control time of possession. So I have Wall in this one. Like, I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout, but I have Wall winning 28-10. And just across the board, I feel like everyone on the COVER1 crew has agreed with me, so we're all picking Wall in this one.
Yeah, we all are, man. I think this is going to be – I know it's not going to be a tornado game, but I think last year they Wall handled Childress pretty well, and I think that Wall is just as good as they were last year.
Oh, shoot, I think they're a little bit better this year than they were last year.
They probably are. They probably are.
They've lost a couple key pieces that they had last year, but at the same time, everyone's that year older, got one more year of experience, and like it seems like they've figured things out.
And they were young last year.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, talk about the Miles Collinsville game real quick.
Yeah, Miles Collinsville tonight. Like I said, 7 p.m. Man, that's going to be a special game. If the Miles Bulldogs can show up and really come together, especially they're going to have all their fans there, their family there. If they can win this round, if they can beat this Collinsville team, man, this is going to be special. But like we were talking about, their defense and their offense have to show up and play the best ball they can play, period. That one, again, starts tonight at 7 p.m., so I'll see you there for sure.
Yeah, I hope that they take that momentum from last week and apply it to this week. You know, maybe they're just hitting stride at the right time.
Yeah.
Well, who do you have in this one, James?
I have Miles in this one. I'm a believer in Wilhelm. I like Haven Book a lot. I think he's an absolute stud out there. He's got great receivers. I mean, they won 7-on-7 state championship the last 2 years. And they're a good football team. I think they kind of get overlooked in the Concho Valley some. Because we got everybody. The Central Bobcats here, and then we got Wall and Sonora played real well. And I feel like we didn't really talk about Miles a whole lot this year.
You're right.
But I mean, they are a good program.
I will say I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I think Collinsville just across the board is too talented this year. Like I actually have Collinsville winning this one. I have it close. I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
I have it 42-35 Collinsville, but I do think this is the end of the road for Miles Bulldogs. Not to take anything away from what they've done this season, but
that's interesting.
Sometimes you just got to make a pick.
Yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. I mean, they're a talented football team, but that's funny you say that. I was going to say I had this game to go into overtime, 35-35, and then it goes to overtime, and then Miles wins by a touchdown. So we'll see.
That would be sick.
That'd be pretty cool, yeah.
That would be epic.
And Chadwick, I will kind of they struggled when they got against Albany and against Roscoe beat them and Sterling City beat them. So if that defense can play and you can win that turnover battle like they did last week, and you force Collinsville to throw it a lot, and you can get in that quarterback's face a little bit, get back and pick that ball off, And like
that's exactly what Ganado did to Mason last night. I did not think that Ganado was going to beat Mason. Mason was just really dominant on the defensive side of the ball, but they got tired, and and the Indians took advantage of early punchers turnovers. So.
All right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right, moving on to our third game. Them boys from Sutton County are playing in Snyder against the Farwell Steers. This is a rematch from last year, where Sonora went and won it like 19-7. This year, obviously they're a little better. DeLuna is playing well. I think he's going to be a week healthier. He's kind of getting over that ankle, and they're going to play. One kid that really played, two kids that played really, really well. Dylan Ford, he's about your height, Chadwick. That's another. He's about 5'8". But he had a big catch against Anson. Had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
He stepped up when Edgar went down and played. And he said, he told me that the message from the team is watch out for us.
Nice.
That's been their attitude this whole year. And when you have someone like Butron who's got that attitude of got him right where we want him, when you're down 6 points, you go down and score, you're gonna have a lot of success. When you can say that and then go out and do that.
Yeah. I like that. Watch out for us.
That's that shows how clutch they are.
Yeah.
And I think that they are going to win this one. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout, but it's going to be 31-21. I think by 10 points.
Yeah.
I think that everyone was kind of surprised Sonora won this game last year. I don't think it will be a surprise when Sonora wins the game this year.
And everybody says, well, they squeaked by Anson. Well, they squeaked by only last year, and that's just a power district. That's Hawley went last year, was the first seed in that district. 16-0, went to state and blew out their opponent at state.
Whoa.
They played Cisco, and Cisco was the second best team in that. They played them at Wildcat Stadium at ACU, blew them out 40-something to 7.
What?
Stanford was the third team, and they got, Hawley beat them, and Cisco beat them, So there's just a hierarchy in that district. It's Hawley and everybody else, and then Cisco, and that only didn't do as good this year. I don't think they won a game this year, but Anson was that team, and that's a good district. That's a power district.
Yeah.
So I don't think you really take that game, and DeLuna didn't really play on offense. DeLuna is he's that thing that people respect. Even on defense, his first play was tackle for loss. So he's just a monster. So I think Sonora is gonna take this one really well, and a lot of other people think that too, except for Matt Trammell and Yantis Green.
Oh yeah.
They picked Farwell.
The hater pick of the week.
They're gonna be wrong, but
yeah, they're gonna be wrong on that one for sure.
Anyway, excuse me. Moving on, the Pit Barbecue is going to be providing us our grub for tonight. We can't move on without thanking the Pit Barbecue for your Friday night skip out on the pizza and hamburgers from the stands. So stop by the Pit Barbecue. This week, the COVER1 Crew will be eating some pit pies, and man, they are delicious. So go get you one today at 2330 Sherwood Way and tell Jesse the COVER1 Crew sent you. All right, we're kind of moving on here to final thoughts. Chadwick, what is your final thought for tonight?
I'm just going to reiterate what I want to see from the Wall Hawks. It's put up or shut up time, I need to see another really dominant performance from that defense. I don't want to. I honestly would love a shutout. I want to see a couple takeaways. I want to see a clean and efficient triple option offense operated by Gunnar Dillard out there. And I interviewed both him and was it Ethan Mikowitz?
Yes, Ethan Mikowitz.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to make sure I had that name right, Mikowitz obviously is that Mike linebacker, one of the leaders on that defense, part of the four horsemen out there. I interviewed them both, and they just seemed very collected, ready to go. They're like, this team is different, and we're going to get it done. So let's see what you got, Hawks.
All right, Matt, what's your final thought?
Final thoughts? Yeah, I agree with you, Chadwick. I want to see Wall win this game, dude. I want to see them go far. I got a lot of people out there that I like rooting for. also Miles. I want to see Miles beat this Collinsville team, dude. I think that would be incredible. So I'm excited to go out there and watch this one. So a lot of exciting matchups tonight. It's, all of us are kind of sad a little bit that the Bobcats are out in Lakeview. I mean, but man, there's some good teams out there. So I'm pretty excited. Good week to look forward to.
All right. My final thought, we're also going to be at the Richland Springs Bronx game. Richland Springs is a powerhouse in 6-man. They are just an outstanding team. I think, Ryan, you were the only person that picked Bronx in this one.
Yeah, I think that the Longhorns can run the ball really well, and I think it's going to come down to who can contain the big play the most. And I know Richland Springs is going to score a lot of points, but hey, not many teams run the ball in 6-man, but I know Bronx does it, and they do it pretty well. So, hey, I'm going for the Concho Valley in this one.
All right, and, of course, we're going to be at the Wink Munster game in Tuscola. That should be another really, really good matchup. So, moving on, we would like to thank our ads from tonight. We have
all
to thank
of our
Intertel,
sponsors.
all of our sponsors. Yep, Intertel, Texas Bank, The Pit, Hartman Roofing, and Carpet Tech, and Jim Bass the Bass Bunch, and we'll see you guys at halftime.